Everybody in my family thought my sister, which by the way is of course the golden child, they thought that she was some successful bigwig, but guys, I just found out her deepest, darkest secret. She's been lying to everyone. Not only is she not the boss at some amazing corporate company, oh no, here's the truth. She didn't even finish college, which she always brags about, and now I'm going to expose her. My father is convinced I'm the family's disappointment, and my sister is the golden star child of the century. Because of that, I'm the constant butt of destructive jokes that are thrown my way. I'm frequently disrespected, and now it just feels like I can't even be myself, or feel a little bit of peace when I'm with my family and relatives. My self-image has been reduced greatly, guys, and for that I owe not only my father, but also his one only princess, who does absolutely nothing wrong ever. Despite the fact that I'm older than her, and have given her nothing but support as we grew up, she gives not a single crap. Before she ridicules me while she boasts about the success that she's achieved just because she listened to Dad, and did a degree in finance. This attitude, it makes my dad more proud, I don't know honestly, but he always agrees with her and never even bothers to tell her better. Rarely, Mom tells her off, but Dad always cuts in saying his little girl is not to be spoken like that to. But it's quite alright when worse is thrown my way, right? Ugh. Well, while she has indeed brought laurels to the family name, she sometimes acts pretty shady. Hear me out, this isn't jealousy talking, I promise. I really think that she isn't as holy as it seems. Now Mel, 28 female, my sister, and I have been living in a different city over the past few years, and I've had to deal with an annual bash sesh every Christmas or Thanksgiving. But we've recently gone back to our parents' home because Grandma's pretty sick, and yes, you got that right, I've been practically living in constant ridicule for the past month. My grandmother, who is 73, has been a heart patient for the last few years. She's had 2 stents placed 2 years ago, and the doctor says that now she needs a coronary bypass surgery. And you know what? We're all struggling to pay for it. She was home when Mel and I came over, but things have gotten pretty serious from last week onwards, so now she's been shifted to the ICU. Upon my mother's request, Mel and I decided to stay home and visit Grandma to spend more time with her. I'm pretty close to my grandma. She's the absolute best. She's the real one. Honestly, she's got the best advice and she actually hears me out. And I feel comfortable with myself when I'm with her. She knows everything about my life and I know she loves me. Nothing can ever beat that. I feel crushed knowing that she's this sick, and I feel worthless because whatever I can do about it is simply not enough. My grandma says she doesn't want to go under the knife. She says that she's pretty scared of that. I, however, know she's faking her fear only because she does not want anyone to have to pitch in money to pay for the surgery, especially my sister. Now, I get why she doesn't want the sympathy, but what really repels her so much at the moment of the mention of my sister? Don't get me wrong, though. My sister is in fact a complete bandwagon of nothing but a jerk. I hate that woman to the absolute core. And I'm sure the constant comparisons and shame add to the sentiments to her, but it's mainly how she is with me and honestly with everyone else that forms my opinion of her. Yet, everyone else seems completely blinded by her success and is always charmed by her presence. You know, especially my father. Grandma's only just started openly throwing shade at Mel since last year. How Grandma sees through the BS is so unknown to me. Yet, it's fairly recent and I aim to find out what exactly caused it. I mean, it sounds pathetic maybe, but I'd obey a sigh of relief to have my opinions and feeling for Mel validated by somebody. Any dirt on Mel would suffice, and watching Grandma roll her tired eyes when somebody praises Mel for being so great brings me such joy. Or when Grandma sarcastically responds to Mel's boasting session in front of an audience and shuts her up. It sends a huge satisfaction through my veins. I hope she knows something off-putting about Mel. I feel like it'd probably help me feel less, crappy about myself. I already do 2 part-time jobs and 1 full-time job just to try to put my mind off the constant mainstreams, because my mind is mainly fixated on savings up for grandma's surgery as soon as I can. I have nothing to my name that I can sell, not even a car. Dad's thinking about selling the family car, but the family needs it. Grandma forbid him to do that, and, well, Mel's busy investing her riches. Surprisingly, Dad's still proud of her. Guys, I have all this anxiety and then some, and I'm about to lose the one person I hold extremely dear to me. The one person who makes me feel better, and then I have to deal with constant disrespect in the house that I grew up in? Well, the thing is, ever since I've come home, Dad's been finding excuses to mock me. Like just yesterday. My mom came over while I was watching some TV, and after a long day of work, and asked me if I wanted to eat something. I wasn't feeling very happy at the moment, but a mother's concern is always soothing, I guess. Well, I politely said I'd take anything that she had. My father fired a taunting tale of my mom not to ask me to decide things because I suck at that. Yes, just like that, unprovoked 100%. My mom told him that wasn't very nice to say, and he said that I deserved to hear it until I changed my ways. Then he laughed and said that I would get the wrong idea and probably change my career. My mom glared at him, but he continued on saying he's used to it by now. That I'm a letdown, and, he never forgot that. Or, this other time a week ago when I was happy with a job success online because it was going to be a lot of money. But Mel had sold the old bunch of clothings as the new batch and made a fortune. Don't get me wrong, I'm not envious of her success. It was just a constant cheer for her that lasted all day. And I didn't even get asked how I've been doing or what I've been up to for the past whole week. You know what? The worst part, though, was the expectation that I was somehow supposed to make my day Mel's day, too. I tried telling Dad that I was trying to save up for Grandma, and he shook his head. He told me I should keep it all to myself and that he could not trust my word. He said he doesn't expect money from his kids, but only good news. And that Mel was the only one meeting that standard. He said that was good enough for him. He said that loud enough for all the relatives to hear, and they would come to see Grandma. I was hurt. So I told him his standards need to change, and he laughed and told me that he refused to lower his standards to appreciate my failure. Mom cut in and told him to let it go, while she just patted my back and told me I did well. Dad, of course, rolled his eyes, but Mel spoke and said Dad struggles to ignore the obvious because no matter how much she shines, my jealousy reeks and always destroys her moments. Everybody starts to gasp at that and started telling Mel that her achievements and success were always celebrated and nobody ever dimmed them. Dad added to the piercing moment and said that lessons are learned one way or another, and Mel was the could-be I would never become. I could only blink and hurt before I walked away. Nobody noticed because everybody was consoling Mel. Can one really let go of their father's words? Or frequent embarrassment? Not once am I able to get over Dad's perception of me. Well, before I can forget his old words, he comes up with new ones to hurt me even more. See, my father always wanted me to get a degree in finance, and well, I always had trouble figuring out what I wanted to do in life. Because business was never an interest to me and rather bores me, to be honest. Now, my father, he had a pretty bad experience investing some money in a friend's business and had to deal with a great loss. Never again did he take a chance, and he was convinced our family required a member who knew money inside and out. Sadly, it was not me that was up for it. Luckily, Mel was, because I'm not the type to aim for riches and riches only. But that's what Dad told Mel that she would get with a degree in finance. I don't know, guys. I just feel like if I have to get up early in the morning to grind throughout the day 9 to 5, it should at the very least be something that I enjoy doing. Mel, however, only enjoys money and anything that comes with it. I've always been good with sketches. I have a sound eye for designing things, and I had thing for this girl named Nancy in high school. Oh, Nancy. Okay, she was a junior to me. My luck sucks big time, and so before I could even ask her out, she found herself a boyfriend.
I graduated high school with a broken heart, and my dad added salt to the injury, trying to force me to get into finances. I refused, just saying that I did not want any of it. That offended him pretty badly, guys, and, well, I guess. He flat out rejected giving me college money, the money that he'd saved up for my degree in finance. He said that I should earn money on my own if I wanted to stray off to get into college. I was rebellious, I was stupid, I was quite immature. Well, I told him I didn't need his money, I would earn my own. I decided to leave home and live alone. So, I spent 2 years doing odd jobs trying to make a living at the very least, and moving out just like that with no plan and job and zero savings was not the right thing to do, now was it? Again, before I could get over it all, my dream girl broke up with her boyfriend and met me a week later by chance. So, we spoke a little, and she told me that I was a good guy. Instantly, like any other love-struck guy, I thought I had a chance with her. So that feeling gave me life. It woke up something I've never even knew I had, and, well, it dried out. But then I found out that she was moving out of town to get a degree in architecture. The only thing I could do was follow her there. My odd jobs and big words could only help make jack. So I went back home. It took me months to convince my father to lend me money to go to college, and yes, you read that right, lend me money indeed. He only agreed to give it to me if I promised to give it back once I was able to. While I had not improved in any way, I'd also gotten desperate, so you know what? I agreed. Reality hits pretty quick, guys, because 2 years into college, I hated everything. The course, the classes, the campus, the classmates, and even myself for existing in a place only to be near to a woman who had absolutely no idea why I was there. Yeah, never asked her out. I was too scared to have her reject me for whatever reason, mainly because a lot was at stake. And then the worst thing happened ever. She started to date a girl. That was it. That was pretty much rock bottom for me, and I've spent years of my life romanticizing possibilities that were far from reality. The fact that I felt so close to a person who was far enough to surprise me with something like that, well, you know what? I just lost control of my emotions and left campus the day I found out. I came home and told my father I would return his money, and I just left. Now, I get that there was something that would enrage my father. However, I did a few graphic designing courses and found a job online. I worked pretty hard and even started enjoying my jobs. I found a roommate, and he's pretty decent. He's a friend of mine now. I gave back my father his money sooner than I ever thought I would. I even pitched in for Grandma's stint placement. I'm now doing a degree in IT, and my father, though, did not get over a lot of things just like me. When I came home last time, I told him I was thinking of doing a degree online while I had a job. Well, you know what? He was still impressed with finance, and again, I disgraced him. This time, though, he did praise my sister for listening to him. She said that she's successful and I'm struggling for a reason. Now, my dad's conservative Christian guy, right? He said that is how God teaches us a lesson. But I'm not as conservative yet. I do believe God is not teaching me any lessons. He's just letting me experiment and learn independently. Anyways, I just told my dad that I'm happy where I am, and I finally found a field that actually interests me. He laughed and said my interests were as uncertain as the weather. This pretty much sums up the backstory of everything. Currently, my sister and her close friend, Dad, Mom, and I are living under the same roof. Mom and Dad moved in with Grandma when she got diagnosed with heart disease for 2 reasons. Number 1, Dad did not want to leave Grandma alone. And number 2, Dad sold his house to help pay for Grandma's hospital bills. I work from home, so the move barely affects my job. But Mel, boy, does she make a ruckus of it. Says she's getting calls and always has to go somewhere, always acting busy and whatnot, and everybody praises her for being present and prioritizing Granny, saying they understand how crazy it must be for her to manage a whole business remotely. Well, fun fact, guys, her friend named Kristen seems to be very much available and at peace. She's a co-owner of Mel's business. Shouldn't she be equally jumping at all this? I don't know. To be honest, I can't tell what it is, but something does not add up. Anyways, coming to discuss why Mel is an awful individual. First off, she's completely self-centered and does not give two hoots about what everyone around her is doing or wants. She always has been like this. She was a smart butt since we were kids. And Dad would always be proud of every little thing that she accomplished. I remember one time, Dad told me to drive and scolded me at every turn I took. Well, Mel was praised for saving a cat when she'd actually crashed the car in the process. Let me add that the cat wasn't even in the way. Mel knows her words well, and she timely said, "Is that cat okay?" when she crashed the car. Pampered princess would get everything she put her fingers on, and then she was told one day that all that Daddy owns is hers. Well, not to mention the obsession with finance opened two roads to success for her. Number one, she got to manage the family money, and number two, she got Daddy's trust fund. Funny enough, there's no family money. Well, she's rejecting many men, and oh, I forgot to mention my sister is pretty decent with her looks. I find her disgusting and would gladly slap that face off her with a chair, but that's just my brotherly love for her. Well, everyone else is all praise when it's her looks they're on about. Plus, she's obsessed with staying fit. She goes to the gym and has a personal trainer, star child, am I right? Well, she mocks me and disrespects me in front of everyone and anyone, makes fun of me for absolutely no reason, and Mel has a habit of showing off and talking about her success and riches for hours on end. But she was pretty quiet when Grandma needed that stint placed. She's invested a great deal already, and in a contract she's been eating everyone's ears about for the past 2 weeks. Everybody who visits us is in absolute awe of her. You know what? I think there's something off about her, though. Grandma's neighbor, named Hans. He's 74. He's also super close to her friend. He has a grandchild named Adam. You see, Adam is Mel's senior from her college. He came over to see Grandma with Hans a few days back, and he recognized Mel when he saw her. She looked at him like she had seen a ghost. She had her phone to her ear as usual, but she slowly lowered that hand to her side. She asked him what he's doing there, and he looked quite offended. He shrugged and told her that he's there to meet her grandma. She stomped away in a hurry. It was really odd. Well, Mel would never get affected by someone's presence so much. Mel would not even care to notice them, to be honest. Adam has an MBA, which is better than Mel's BBA. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I can't really tell for sure. Anyways, I just came here to write my heart out to you guys. It's getting increasingly insane for me here. 3 jobs for money that bear no promise for my grandma's life. And then the few hours I get free while awake, I'm just slammed by my own dad and sister. The only thing that redeems me is the time I spend with Granny. Watching her is heart-wrenching, but at least she's alive. Sometimes I wish I did not have to struggle so much. At the very least, like myself. Well, you're sick of yourself already, so don't try to blame your lackings on me. That's what Mel said when once I lightly laughed and said that she was why Dad thought 2 kids were enough, that he'd already made the best child there could be. You know what? Maybe she was right, or maybe I'm just overthinking things. I can't tell. Can you? Sometimes I wish karma came from Mel. Does that make me a bad person? What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So today's story is one heck of a family drama, but guys, we have multiple updates, and things are about to go absolutely nuclear. I have 4 complete updates, so let's just go ahead and hop right into it. Update number 1. Sorry for the late update, but I've been really busy the past whole week. Grandma got pretty serious 2 days ago, and just today she breathed her last breath. I can't even type this with my eyes dry. My dear, lovely, pure-souled grandmother has left me, and I failed her. She has a sudden cardiac arrest at the hospital this morning, and I got the call, and I rushed to the hospital. Today was a very, very long day. There are a lot of things I'm still trying to process. Grandma's passing was already a setback for me, and then I got busy at the hospital with the paperwork, shifting Grandma to the mortuary until the funeral. I had to make calls and arrangements for the funeral as well. Just yesterday, I spoke to her. She spoke slowly while she gasped between sentences, and it broke my heart each time. I was thinking of sharing that conversation here today, but I didn't know I would have to start off with such news. I had just signed off from my online office when I got a call from Dad. He said Grandma wanted to meet me, so I did. It was as if she spent all her strength to speak to me and tell me those things. She spoke to family and how loved that she is, and it's the only glue that keeps it together. She told me I made her proud. She knew Dad forgot to mention my good qualities most of the time, and he only saw who I was at 19. She said I was naive and didn't know any better, and even then I chose to follow my heart. So she asked me to forgive Dad and give it time. Grandma even mentioned Nancy, my high school crush. Said that she'd hoped I'd find another Nancy, but one who liked men. Her weak laugh pushed knives into her heart. Then, quite unexpectedly, Grandma mentioned Mel. Yep, she told me to take care of Mel. She said that she hoped Mel would turn out better with time. So I asked Grandma what she meant by that. Slowly but clearly, she struggled her way through to tell me that Mel had once talked to Grandma into investing in a business that was an absolute scam, and Mel was very much aware of it. If Grandma had not had her gut tingling to have her ask Adam for a second opinion, she'd have lost a great deal of her money. Luckily for Mel, Grandma did not tell Adam whose idea it was. Else it would have been pretty embarrassing for Mel, don't you think? Well, while Grandma was on and on about not wanting to embarrass Mel, I was enraged, fuming on the inside. How dare she? That too, with her own innocent grandmother. Pathetic, absolutely pathetic. I stomped my way outside in the hospital lobby to find Mel and confronted her about it. She just shrugged and said that's how the world works. It's all business, and I could only shake my head with disgust. Let's not forget what she said when we all sat in silence today. Attention hungry, as usual. She came to the living room and plopped down beside Dad, resting her head on his shoulder. In a low tone, she spoke, saying Grandma was lucky in a way because she doesn't have to run a big company like Mel. She's probably in a lot of peace. Dad just patted her on the shoulder and said that success comes at a cost, Mel. And one day we will find peace when she'll have to do nothing, and the company will just run on its own. Mel took the opportunity to explain that's not how companies work, and that there's so much to take care of. She went on and on about the things she has to bear in mind and all the things that could go wrong. All the relatives in the room were invested, and so was Dad. Mom and I just raised our eyebrows and exchanged these glances. I don't joke when I say they're blind with Mel, and Dad is absolutely deaf. The only good thing from today was my encounter with Nancy. She found me coming home from the hospital and asked if she could walk with me. I obviously agreed. She spoke about Grandma's passing and heard me talk about her. She then squeezed my shoulder, telling me I was a good man. I told her I was not good enough, I guess. She said some people would be very lucky to be with me, and I just asked her what people she's talking about. And she said that she's been watching me for so long from afar, and always had a nice opinion of me. I never showed any interest in her, though. I was appalled. I told her I saw her date a girl. She laughed and told me she didn't care what gender it was. She just wanted genuine companionship. She sighed and said maybe it was too much to ask for. And for the first time ever, I made a move. I offered her my hand and told her not to give up too soon. She took it and smiled and nodded at me. We walked to her home with quite smiles from ear to ear, and I left her there and I just waved at her. Then I came home. I have mixed feelings about today, but I hope things get better from here on out. If Grandma were here, I'd have rushed to tell her about this news, but you guys are all I have now. The funeral is going to be tomorrow, and everybody is going to be there. I hope this does not get any worse, but I feel like I now get provoked too much. I will spill the beans on Mel and tell everyone what she tried to do to Grandma. I'll even bring Adam in on it. Mel better count her stars. Update number 2. Hey guys, thank you so much for reading and responding to my story and interacting with it as much as you guys have. It means a lot since I don't really have anybody to talk to. Today was Grandma's funeral. I wrote her eulogy, and it was full of anecdotes from her life, a bit of everyone that she held close. It was soothing to find faces that radiated similar emotions of loving memories. Adam, Grandma's friend, her grandkid, dropped a bomb on me today. It's all about Mel. And you know what? It absolutely rendered me speechless. I thought this scam was a good thing to put against her. Well, Adam's news, oh boy, it makes the scam a small deal. He's Mel's senior from college, right? The MBA guy that Mel dislikes. Today I found out why that is, why Mel doesn't like him. So Adam came over to me and offered his condolences, and he then made me exceedingly uneasy when he tried to offer me back rubs to calm me down. I turned to look at him, and he winked at me, and I told him, "Man, I'm not gay." He looked a bit offended by that and replied with a little attitude. He said he thought being gay ran in the family. I thought he was trying to insult my father, so I warned him to watch his tongue. He held up his wine and apologized for overstepping, since, he could not handle alcohol as well. I shook my head and was about to leave his side when he stopped me and asked about Mel. Well, I shrugged and told him I don't know, with a mocking tone. He asked if she was out partying as usual, and I just furrowed my brows. He laughed, saying I looked like I didn't know my own sister very much. I told him it was none of his business, and he just raised his eyebrows and mocked me, saying it looked like it was none of my business either. So I obviously frowned again, and so he added, saying my whole family ignores everything Mel does and cheers on her for the lies that she tells. I asked him what he meant by that, and he laughed sarcastically and said Mel goes around partying around town, spending her easy money everywhere, showing off a degree she never even got. She failed her final exam and never retook it. She would party the whole year round and never cared about a single thing. He said she found an easy target to leech on, went home and told everybody that she's made it. And you know what? Everybody believed her. Well, I personally could not clear my head around it as he went on and on and on. It all enraged me, not only because he was bad-mouthing my sister, but also because it sounded like something Mel would do. I balled my fist in annoyance and whispered to him to keep his mouth shut before I walked away as calmly as I could. And I did not anticipate this at all. She's been lying to us the whole time? Well, I had to make sure. Here's a disappointing detail. Mel was nowhere to be seen throughout the service, and I tried to look for her after speaking with Adam. So her phone was switched off too, and I found Kristen, her co-owner friend, there. The woman looked paler than ever. She looked sick, and I asked her if she's okay, and she just responded rather rudely. She huffed and puffed and said she didn't even know why she was there. Then she stomped away. She's friends with Mel. The rudeness must have been the bonding reason, I don't know. But I met Nancy, but she left in a hurry, almost avoiding me. Before she left, she told me to ask Mel what she wanted. This enraged me some more because Mel has definitely offended Nancy in some way. Tried to scam her too, huh? Well, I'm left puzzled, extremely. I'm uncomfortable to find out Adam's gay, and I'm sad and hurt by how Nancy behaved with me. I'm really angry at Mel. I need to find her ASAP, and I will update you guys on what I find out. I can't let this go. I need to know what Mel has been doing. She can't just mess things up and then poof, go incognito. Update number 3. Hey guys, I'm back after 2 whole days, but boy oh boy do I have stuff to talk about. Mel made my whole day today a roller coaster, so did Grandma. Dad called me to his room 2 days ago to discuss some paperwork. Upon reaching his room, I found a lawyer in there as well. It was just the 3 of us, and he called me to discuss Grandmother's will. I was a little taken aback by the fact that Mel wasn't there. I was curious about Grandma's will, and she was the sort of person who would write one, plus I thought she didn't have anything to give anyways. Or did she? Turns out she had a hidden bank account that we were unaware of completely. She owns an apartment that's up for rent and saves it up there. None of us even knew about it. Guess what? She left it all in my name. Just mine. No one else's. The house is split between Dad and Mom too. Nothing for Mel. Dad asked me if I knew anything about this, and well, I was already too shocked to understand how this was possible. Why didn't she just use the money for her surgery? Well, that answer is because it was Grandma. My pure soul. She was always so giving. I just shook my head. I was asked to sign a few documents, and then I was allowed to leave. And then Mel found out. Of course, she made a fuss about it, and when asked where she would be, during the funeral service, she said that she'd gotten an important client that she had to meet, and I could tell she was lying, but I just simply ignored it. She was so sure that she would get the family's riches because she's done finance. The audacity, she mentioned it again, and I swear I was at my limit this time. I wanted to shout a shut-up call at her and tell her I knew that she was full of crap. But she kept on until Dad told her that he'd give her the house when it was time. So I just clenched my jaw and walked away. She'd deserved none of it, and honestly, I kind of felt bad for Dad because he's put so much trust in her. I couldn't just tell him about it. I should have, but I didn't. Nancy's been ignoring my texts and calls ever since the funeral, and I tried to speak to Mel about her, but Mel could only speak to how Grandma did injustice to her. I found her pumping gas yesterday, and I walked up to her. She tried to act like she didn't see me, and I stood in front of her way and asked her if she was really just going to ignore me. She sighed and accepted it. Well, that hit like a bus. I said she could at least tell me why, and she said that she met Mel outside the graveyard at the funeral. Mel was so drunk and offered her a drink, so Nancy politely just declined it, and then Mel asked her out, saying she deserved to be with somebody like Mel rather than being with someone like me. My insides were set ablaze. I asked how Nancy responded. Nancy said she told Mel that she didn't want to cause problems, but Mel tried to force a kiss on Nancy, and Nancy slapped her. She apologized for reacting like that and seemed a bit embarrassed about it. I gotta say, I was proud of her, and I was proud of having feelings for a woman like that. Wow, good decision. I apologized to Nancy for Mel's behavior and told her she did not need to be embarrassed about her reaction since Mel deserved it. Nancy apologized again and told me that she was thinking of staying over since she didn't want to cause a rift between siblings. Well, not again, I thought. I told her to wait before making a decision. I made my way to Mel, and she was in her room smoking at the window. The door was already ajar, so I just walked in. She did not turn to look at me, and I said I was meaning to speak to her. And she said, go ahead. So I walked towards her and asked her why she spoke to Nancy the way that she did. She laughed and shrugged casually, saying she thought Nancy was hot. Well, I reminded her that Nancy had always been my crush, and she said that she knew, and the fact that Nancy and I were close now made Nancy all the more enticing. I just scrunched up my nose in absolute disgust. She laughed again and said that I did not deserve Nancy anyways. And Dad does not deserve to be lied to, I responded. She asked me what exactly I meant by that, so I told her I knew that she failed her final exam and never got a degree. Well, this got her attention. She raised her eyebrows at me, and the conversation got a little heated. And we went back and forth, about how Mel lied for praise and while she effortlessly spit on me every moment she found. She said that she had a life where a lot of things weren't her choice. I told her she should not play the victim because she was never one. And the fact that grandmother's money, should have been hers all along is another thing that hurt her. I told her nothing was ever promised to her. She said that she was the only one worthy enough to even get it, and I asked her if she had known of it before, and she said that she had, which is why she wanted Grandma to invest in her project, and with every response I could feel my blood boil. She then said she did not care what people thought about her as long as no money was involved. I just took a deep sigh. I then asked why on earth was she suddenly interested in a woman. She laughed and told me that's none of my business. So I just shook my head and I left the room. Well, only to find Mom and Dad at the stairs in clear earshot. I quickly made my way down the stairs and went to my room to get my stuff. I had to travel back to my city, so I had to catch the train. I left. I still can't get over what Mel's been doing to us. She tried to trick Grandma into investing, and then she lied to us about her degree. All those times she showed her achievements, and every moment that she gleamed in the limelight, and for what? She then tried to steal my crush away from me. What makes her so vile is beyond me. I have a feeling Dad and Mom heard us. I can't bring myself to call home and ask. I'll update you guys when I'll be able to do that. Final update. Hey, I'm back after a whole 2 weeks. About 15 days has gone by. But I promised it's so worth it, so I finally called and actually found out what happened. I was a bit scared to ask before, but Mom told me everything. So, turns out Mom and Dad have heard everything. Dad confronted Mel about it after, and she agreed to it. He was taken aback by it when Kristen came in, saying that she was looking for my father. Well, Mel told her to leave, but Kristen insisted on staying, saying she had to tell Dad. So you know what? She told him that Mel owed her a lot of money. She had trusted the wrong people repeatedly, causing the company a huge loss, and when Dad asked why she owed Kristen the money, Kristen said that that's because she's the real CEO, and Mel, being her girlfriend and close trusted partner, was allowed to call herself a co-owner. Guys, Dad could not quite grasp the girlfriend part when Kristen continued on saying that Mel not only cheated on the company and stole money from it after the losses, but also cheated on Kristen with another woman from work. Mel was absolutely insolent about it and told Kristen to grow up. She told her nothing was permanent, and Kristen just says, because Grandma died doesn't mean Mel's scam story died with her. She then told Dad all about it. Well, Dad has had enough at this point, so he told Mel to get out of the house immediately, and Kristen also told her that she was fired. Well, it's a lot to unpack, honestly. Dad's pretty conservative, so being with a girl thing, it must have really hurt. Not to mention the cheating. Sin over sin over sin. Mom says she's worried about Mel, so she keeps checking on her occasionally. Mel's currently doing these odd jobs, but she isn't homeless. She shares a room with 2 other girls who work at a diner with her. She's working to pay Kristen her money back. As for Dad, he sent me a gift in the mail. It's his tie pin with a note that said, "I'm sorry." So I called him on the phone and we had a long phone call about everything. A lot has settled. Now, I need to talk to Nancy.
So, guys, it looks like to me Mel, who, by the way, was the one in today's story who was causing a lot of problems, it seems like everything hit rock bottom for her. First of all, her father, Clark, well, he doesn't want anything to do with her now because he found out, and by the way, he's very conservative, that she is swinging for the same team. And guys, also, we have to realize that not only did she lose her girlfriend, she lost her family because the dad disowned her. She lost all the money that she had and all the connections. And she also lost all of her friends. Guys, let me know what you would have done if you found yourself in OP's position and you had to deal with Mel, the golden child who doesn't last as the golden child for very long. Let's talk about it down below, guys. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Consider subscribing if you're into these sort of stories, and I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.